Being around the most creative people in the industry is where we wanted to be.
But what we love most of all is taking everything that we've learned over the last 14 years, whether it's fashion or photography or all of our wedding and event experience, and bringing it to you each and every week. Hello and welcome to Notes from the Lightbox. I'm Stephanie Boyd. Today we are talking about finding the right photographer for you. So photography is very subjective. What your sister loves and speaks to her may not be what you love and speaks to you. So style is really important to sort of establish what it is that you like. Myself personally, I love a combination of a couple different styles, but I like to look at a photographer's work and sort of be moved by what I see. If I feel like there's emotion behind it, that's definitely where I'm more inclined to look. The styles that people will refer to themselves as, there's pretty much three. The first one would be reportage, documentary, or photojournalistic style. And this is all essentially the same thing. It means that your photographer is not intruding on the scene. They are acting like a fly on the wall. They are just there to observe and to take pictures of things as they happen. This is probably the most popular style I think that you would see out there. And a lot of brides come to me and say, oh, we love reportage because it's like so authentic, the reactions you see from people, and I think that there is room for that in other places, but that's sort of what people think of when they think of documentary. The second style would be portrait style. This is probably what every album prior to the year 2000 looked like. Your parents definitely had this style of wedding photography. It's a little more stiff and formal, people holding their bouquets in the right spot, tilting their head, no one really having kind of really organic emotion in the pictures. It's just sort of all very thought through and portrait-like, quite frankly. The third style would be fine art photography. This is very similar in style to documentary, only the difference would be a more artistic sort of perspective or point of view. The fine art photographer may shoot something at a really interesting angle, or do something that would be a little outside the normal thinking, shooting something through a screen or from low down, just kind of giving their artistic lens to your wedding day. Other fine art photographers, or a lot of fine art photographers, will also use film. So they'll do a combination of digital and film. Some will even use larger format cameras, which are really fun and can create some really beautiful sort of timeless pieces. So it's important to think through, look at the different styles, and decide what works for you. I love photojournalism. I think it's great. I love the spontaneousness of the photographs. I love a lot about it, but I do think it is important for your photographer to have some say in what's going on in your pictures. They are the photography professional. They do understand light. They are able to see what you can't see. I've seen this more than one occasion when we have photographers that come through our studio, show us their galleries, and try to work with us. They're very strictly photojournalist, and this is what I'll see. I'll see a beautiful bride standing in a mirror. You get the back of her gown. You get her face reflected in the mirror. It's a long shot. And right next to her is her overnight bag with a puffy bra hanging out. And okay, they were true to the photojournalistic code of thought, school of thought, not interfering at all. But nobody's going to put that picture with a puffy bra into their album. So it's a waste of a picture, in my opinion. I think better would be somebody who is able to say a couple of things to you. For example, you're having a great moment with your fiance in the middle of the hallway where there's like heinous overhead fluorescent lighting. Hey, why don't we just move over here where there's beautiful light coming in the window? That's what you're paying them for. You want them to understand light, you want them to look in the frame and make sure it's clean and that, puffy bras and dirty dishes have been moved out of the picture, and you're getting the best that you can get in every situation. Now it's time to read reviews. Go on Wedding Wire, go on The Knot, go on local reviews. Yelp now is starting to do a lot of reviews, and read about the photographer. I would also go on their Facebook page and their website. Read the comments below the wedding. A lot of times wedding guests will leave comments, it was great to work with you, or maybe it wasn't so great to work with you. They might eliminate those, but read. If you see a lot of great reviews about your photographer, you will feel a lot more confident going in that, hey, people like working with this person. Their website will show you sort of their aesthetic style, and that is also an indication of what you might get as your photographer. If you see a cool website, you go like, oh, okay, this guy's cool, he's got a great style. The other thing that I would think about is how frequently are they shooting? So you see a great wedding, but the wedding that was posted before that was 3 months before that. Well, that sort of says to me, I mean, how good are they? They've got a wedding every 3 months. Can't be too fabulous. I think somebody consistently working means that they are honing their craft, that they're really good at what they do, they're in demand, and in demand by default means that they're doing a great job and people are happy. So all of those things would be something that I would check out before setting up an appointment. It's time to get FaceTime, one-on-one time with the studio, with the photographer. First thing you're going to do is you're going to call the studio, you're going to set up an appointment, you're going to email them. I would look at how quickly they get back to you, how friendly they are, all of those kind of things, because this is an indication of how the studio is run. If you are not a priority, if they don't get back to you, then you might want to say, hey, I'm not so sure this is the studio for me. If they're not friendly, by all means, I don't think you want to probably get in bed with these people. So I would say find another studio. But let's hope that they are a great studio and they're helpful and friendly. Then it's time to move into meeting the photographer, and hopefully you have a great rapport with them. That obviously is important because you are spending the most important day of your life with them. So you want to like them. You also want to like the studio. I'm just going to say the relationship with the studio is much longer than the relationship with the photographer, because the studio will be helping you arguably for about 1.5 years. From the time you set up your meeting, they'll be kind of like laying out your day and giving you all sorts of information about your photography and all sorts of those kind of things. And then after the wedding, you're doing your album with them. So critical is the relationship you have with the photographer, but also the way that you relate with the studio. Both things are really important. What do you do next? I would ask to see a gallery. A gallery is super important because blog posts and websites only tell like a 16th, a 20th of the story. They might post 40 or 50 pictures in a blog post, but your wedding day gallery is somewhere between 800 and 1,000 pictures. So there is a lot more photographs that happen during that day. What is the breadth of the work look like that they do? And this is where your sort of weekend warrior versus a professional photographer and somebody who has a lot of experience comes into play. Somebody who has a lot of experience has a very consistently beautiful gallery throughout the entire day. Somebody who is sort of just starting is going to have less consistency. They're not going to have as many great pictures. That's important for you to realize. The highlights are not the album, you know, so you have to consider, what does the big thing look like? And when asking your studio to give you a gallery, think about the style and sort of vibe of your wedding. If your wedding is sort of urban chic evening wedding, you definitely don't want to see a gallery from a daytime farm wedding because it would have a completely different feel. So make sure you express to the photography studio what your wedding is going to look like so that they can give you an accurate gallery. So you can sort of decide, do I like the work they do all throughout the day? That's important. I think one kind of fun thing to do is ask your photographer what background they come from, what else they do. Do they shoot any other kind of photography? Because it kind of gives you an insight as to who they are. For example, if your photographer is or came from a graphic arts background, you will know that they understand composition really well and your pictures will be really cool, will be composed, and they're thinking through the whole frame of the picture. If your photographer, say, is an architectural photographer during the week and shoots weddings on weekends, then you know, okay, they understand light because interiors are all about light. In our studio, Tyler comes from a really strong fashion background, and that's kind of interesting because the inspiration there would be, you know, fashion magazines and pop culture sort of things. But asking your photographer will sort of give you an insight to what muses inspire them. Thank you so much for watching Notes from the Lightbox. I really love our audience. Please send us questions and comments to our Facebook page. We now have a blog website, which is www.notesfromthelightbox.com. We would love to hear from you. We'd love for you to subscribe and get our weekly videos emailed to you. So thanks again for watching and have a great day. Go forth informed.